Vice Chair, follow-up question.
Yes, Chair. The last part of my question, I said that what is it that the ministry is doing to ensure that the funds are taken back to the ministry? And I checked on the appendixes. I haven't seen any communication from the ministry to the Ministry of Finance to push for those funds. So, and even in your response, you haven't indicated anything. What is it that you are doing as a ministry?
Thank you. PS. So through PS, yeah, it's a follow-up on the same. Okay, before I proceed, Honorable Mkumbi can proceed.
Sure. Director, what do you mean by technical issues? Maybe just elaborate there. Thank you.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed, or the Director of Finance through the PS.
Thank you very much, Chair. For the Honorable asked what we are doing. I remember when I just came in, we actually wrote a letter to the Treasury. It's unfortunate we didn't attach it as an appendix. We wrote to ask if they could pay these open items because they were already in the system. We had already processed them. What was remaining was just to honor them, and the money is reaching the beneficiaries. So we wrote a letter, and what they did is after our letter, they only funded 10 million of the 83. So we've been waiting, thinking they would give us the 73 so that we process all the payments. Thank you very much. My director will answer the other question.
Thank you, Director of Finance. You can proceed.
Thanks, Chair. When it is when I meant technical, I was referring to processes like procurement. When you start procurement processes, by the time it's closing, sometimes the procurement hasn't finished, so that payment cannot be finished. So that is left hanging, and those are the monies that remain as unspent. Submit. Thanks.
Honorable Mwila.
Thank you, Chair. I think we need clarity, especially when Director of Finance through PS submits that the open items, only 10 million then was released, because the 83 million we are talking about is part of the funding, the 13 million. Your budget, if just to take you from the beginning, the budget for the whole year was 18.7 million, and the funding that was released by the Treasury was 13 million. The underfunding overall on the budget was 5 million.
18 billion and 13 billion.
Billion, yes.
Yes.
18 billion was the budget, and the funding was 13.6 billion. And now we are talking about 83.5 million as unspent, which should be within the 13.6 billion that was funded. But how then are you submitting that the ministry only released 10 million? Because by the time you are preparing the open items, it means you have confirmed that you have this 83 million. Now you just want Treasury to effect the payments. So if they released 10 million, then things are not adding up here. Because when you prepare open items, you actually are confirming that we have this money in the ministry, it has already been released, so all we just want is to effect the payments. So how come now you are talking about only 10 million having been released? So need that clarity.
Thank you. PS, you can clarify that.
Thank you very much, Chair. Honorable, the processing of payments in the IFMIS, they release money in the IFMIS, we start processing on our end. That money is already released by the Treasury. When we're taking the payments to Ministry of Finance, they have to clear them. At that point, we were told the money that you've already processed is not yet ready by the Treasury. So they couldn't complete the process. So the money that they are saying they will fund us is actually our budgeted funds that were supposed to be released, but they are with the Treasury, because we don't see the money when they fund us, it's with them in the Treasury. So when we process the whole payment, we take back these open items so that they can process the transactions fully up to the beneficiary accepting. So it was at that point when we were taking the open items that we were told funds are not yet ready in the system. leave your open items, we'll clear them. But then the year elapsed and they told us we were going to give you the funds. And what happens when these payments are withheld, we don't get the funding again. We are told to prepare documents called non-fund items. So we take these unprocessed payments to the Treasury under Head 21, then they'll process them with the funding that was for Ministry of Health. That was the process. And that's why we're talking of funding. They just give us a letter to tell us that out of those unprocessed items, we'll allocate 10 million for you to bring items worth 10 million of your unprocessed payments. So that's the process where we were. Where only 10 million worth of transactions were taken back to the ministry under Head 21 to process. So we're still waiting for them to give us another letter to say we've found 73 million, so bring items worth 73 million so that we process them. That's what hasn't been done yet. So that's where we are.
Thank you, PS. Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Chairperson. PS, the Minister of Health is a very serious ministry. It's a life-saving ministry, and as such, this committee takes it very serious. PS, can you just give an elaborate of what activities suffered due to this underfunding? The committee would want to know. I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll allow my Director of Finance to just go through.
Director of Finance, you can proceed.
The items that suffered, or the services that suffered, are on Annexure 1, marked A2, and I think there are quite so many. I don't know whether we should read through Appendix 1, A2. So they are all listed there. Thanks.
So now, PS, what it entails now, I think we start having budget credibility issues, because if from what members are saying, we can see this funding sitting there, that you've been funded 13.6 billion. In actual sense, there's 83 million which was not given to the ministry, but like Honorable Will asked, perception is you are given that money is in the system and you're supposed to appropriate it. So now we can see the services which suffered. And sorry, although it's showing 5 billion 87,000, which you've indicated as underfunding, but in essence the unspent, I think they are not even supposed to be unspent, because the funds were not there. If funds were available, they were going to be spent. That's from your submission and what you are saying, because it sits in the system. It's important that we come and harmonize these issues with ST. We want to understand, because it's probably predominantly happening in most of the ministries. Then for us, if we come to mid-term review of the budget, where we are part of the expanded budget committee, then we have these issues. Because if the budget has been done, we come up with the budget and we are not funding it, releases are not done, then why do we even have to blow it up like that? I think those are some of the issues we want to clarify with the Secretary to Treasury, and just understand, yes, we know if we've got fiscal space issues, even we have got other things which are also not funded, but fully budgeted for, but it's not funded. Example was Eliwa, where there was a 50 million not funded, but again this year we provided for 330 million. If you didn't fund, why should you even increase and provide for it? Where are you going to find the money? So those are some of the issues. Honorable Daka, you have a follow-up question, or you are resolved on your question?
Chairperson, I have a follow-up question. 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 Chairperson, I
Okay. So, honorable colleagues, essentially the 83 billion was not funded. Yeah. So it does not even AG becomes unspent because it was not given. If it was given, then it was seated there in the system. They could send open items and are processed, and then that money remained. Then it's unspent. Yeah. So let's make progress. We have position on that. Yes, Honorable Daka.
Chair, on progress, I would like to take PS to the Cancer Treatment Center in Lusaka Lot 1, where the ministry went into a contract with the Jiangsu Gold Construction Company for the scope of works which they have clearly indicated in her submission. Chair, and that was on the 25th November 2022 at a contract sum of 49 million, VAT inclusive. Along the way, Chair, the ministry opted to cancel the contract or to terminate the contract upon seeking advice from ZPPA, and entered into a new turnkey contract with the Siemens Healthineers at $23 million, Chair. PS would want to understand the rationale behind terminating a 49 million contract and entering into a new $23 million contract with the same scope of works. So we would want to understand as a committee how, or the reasoning behind terminating a contract which was only worth 49 million kwacha and going into a $23 million contract with the same scope of works. Chair, I submit.
Thank you. Any other question? PS, you can proceed with that question.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll just allow the head procurement to explain on those technicalities. Thank you.
Thank you. Head procurement.
Thank you very much, PS, and thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Yes, I think initially the contract that was done with the China Jiangsu Gold, apparently there was an omission for the aspect of decommissioning. So of course, as the engagements went on with the contractor, they had insisted that if they have to put that component, then obviously it had to attract further cost to the ministry. So based on that, the ministry felt that there was therefore need to just proceed and get a different contract, which of course from a very specialized firm, and in this case, of course, they got Siemens, which I think is specialized in this kind of decommissioning for very radioactive arrangements and so on. Based on, so I think that's the background that we got from the department on this particular issue. So maybe with the permission of PS, I would also maybe request that maybe the director, if he's here from clinical care, maybe he may want to just shed a little bit of light. Thank you.
PS, you want to shed some more light before Honorable Daka has a follow-up question?
Yes, Chair. I was thinking the SMS from CDH can say something. Dr. Msadabwe.
Where's Dr. Msadabwe? Please come through. You can take the first seat there where there's a mic. And also procurement. Procurement. I think we want more explanation from procurement. Yes, before maybe Doc, you come in. Honorable Doc, what's your follow-up question?
Chair, first of all, if you look at just the name of the contract, Chair, I'll refer to the name of the contract. The name of contract, Chair, is a contract for decommissioning, redesign, rehabilitation, and installation of essential equipment for the cancer treatment center. Chair, it's quite surprising that the head of procurement is submitting, Chair, that the decommissioning part was omitted, hence the justification in entering into another new contract, which is far more expensive than the original contract. The contract name, Chair, is very clear. And two, Chair, before you get to cancel, terminate the contract on the basis of a price adjustment, there are negotiations. You allow the initial supplier or initial contractor to make a submission that you should be able to compare with whatsoever new contract you intend to go in, so that there's value for money. Chair, the discrepancy is just too huge that the committee cannot easily bear it. So the committee would want to know through your submission whether you negotiated and you have got the record for that particular negotiation for you to make a decision to proceed with another supplier. The negotiations could have collapsed or failed. It's at that point, Chair, APS, that you can opt to go into getting to employ or engage another supplier or a contract. So the committee would appreciate the fact that you can make a submission on how far you went with a negotiation, and indeed if the figures we are reaching at, or the figures you are getting from the initial supplier, are far higher than what you went into eventually. I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you. Director of Finance, before, what is $23 million in Kwacha? Yeah. So you had a contract PS of 49 million. Okay, which did not, you could not proceed with it, and we can't even call it that it was in abeyance, but you went for another contract, which is $23 million, 500 million. I don't know how many times from 50. Let's just say the earlier one was 50 million. So now go for 500. We want a justification on if it's a scope of work, what changed, and this performance, this contract was not performed. And then I think for me, I just want a justification. But Honorable Daka's question begs to be answered. So PS, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think I'll have a number of officers just to clarify on that point. First, we'll start with Dr. Msadabwe, and then maybe the contract engineer from infrastructure will come in. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Doc, you can proceed. Give us an explanation. We hear.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you. So just to give some clarity, so these contracts were actually very different with regards to the scope of works. So the first one, where Janju Gold Construction Company, that was just procurement of one linear accelerator in 2022, and the construction of one bunker. Bunker is basically where you put the linear accelerator that shields the public and clients from radiation. So it was just for the construction of one bunker and the procurement of one linear accelerator. As you may know, subsequent to that, all the radiotherapy machines actually broke down, and hence there was a change in the scope of works to decommission all the equipment and refurbish the imaging and radiotherapy section. However, the radiotherapy section was...
order, Chair.
Sorry, Doc, there's a point of order. You can switch off the mic. Yes, Vice Chair.
Chair, what the doctor is submitting is not in this submission by the PS. So maybe you can guide us. Because what she's submitting and what we've read in this submission is totally different.
Okay, maybe PS clarify before Doc comes in. What was this contract with Jiangsu Gold Construction 4, and now the other, the one for 23 million from Siemens. Yeah.
Chair, just a moment.
Yes, Honorable.
Maybe Chair would appreciate if even the scope of works can be submitted before the committee. Basically, we're talking about the initial contract, a full contract, including the scope of works. Because the rest you remain here, say Chair. I submit.
Thank you. Maybe before you proceed, Auditor General, these two contracts, do you have a copy of the contracts before maybe we ask the client to give us a contract, or did you have sight of them?
Chair, of course we should have seen the contracts, but let me just find out from the team whether they have it on the file.
Mr. Chitumbo?
Honorable, we have a soft copy, yes.
Okay, so maybe PS explain. There's a question from Honorable Daka and the Vice Chair. From your submission, and also what were the scopes of work between these two contracts, so that we just bring us to speed, then we can make some progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Just to explain, only one contract was signed. I'm afraid we needed to reconcile with our auditors, but what the doc is submitting is what was on the ground. Yes, there were two contracts. The other one was not signed. So maybe we'll allow her to just explain. We didn't put it in our response because we were actually responding to what was on the ground. So what the doc is explaining is what the case is right now. Thank you.
Doc, proceed, let's hear. So maybe before even the doc proceeds from the cancer hospital. So PS, your submission is this: the Jiangsu Gold Construction Company. This contract for 49 million was not signed.
No.
Okay.
It wasn't, Honorable.
Okay. Okay, proceed. Let's hear.
Thank you, Chair. So, so this was just for one linear accelerator and one bunker. So as you can see from this subsequent contract, this is for the actual decommissioning of all the equipment, redesign, rehabilitation, and installation of essential equipment. So this second contract actually includes 4 linear accelerators. The previous one was just one linear accelerator. It also includes an MRI, 2 CT simulators, and the construction of 4 bunkers, the construction of 2 brachytherapy units, which are basically mini bunkers, the construction of 1 CT simulator room, and the refurbishment of the imaging section. So the scope of works is actually very, very different. Thank you, Honorable. I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Daka, is there any? You are the ones who asked that question.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Anyway, we'll take the response the way they have provided it, Chair, especially the fact that they say the contract wasn't signed. So basically, there was no contract. But there's no indication in the submission, Chair. If they indicated that this contract wasn't signed, so the committee could have known that initially there was no contract. But we'll further, Chair, will proceed further. On the same contract, there was a price adjustment, Chair, from 23 million again to $30 million, after including the component of service, maintain, and upgrade the center. However, Chair, if you remember, we have been struggling with the ministry with regards to the way they maintain their equipment. In fact, we even requested them that they should submit a strategic maintenance plan for the equipment. Chair, they go into a contract void of the same very component that we have been very categorical and particular about as a committee, basically like an afterthought. PS, why didn't you include this component initially in the contract so that there's value for money? Because if you start introducing components much later after the tendering and bidding. Basically, the suppliers take advantage and we tend to procure at a very expensive cost. So we want to find out as a committee, why is it that you, when you knew very, very well that that component of equipment maintenance and service is very cardinal. We have a situation whereby equipment break down, our people now have to be, you start sending our people out of the country at a very great cost. Why didn't you initially include this component, which is very important, as part of the contract? I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Daka. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Dr. Msadaba will just clarify on that one.
Doc, you can clarify, not Mr. Myambango. Doc, you can proceed. I thought Mr. Myambango is the one in charge of, is it maintenance?
Yes.
Okay.
After she's clarified, Mr. Myambango will come on.
Doc, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to confirm that the whole contract from the beginning was $30 million odd. So the part of maintenance was actually included from the beginning, except Director Finance, if you may allow him to come in with regards to the aspects of payment. They were just separated out to allow more flexible payment terms. But otherwise, the maintenance part was actually part of the initial contract. Thank you.
Now we are, the doc is sending us, we are now at sea. Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, from the submission it's very clear. The part of service and maintenance and upgrade at the center was included much later, and it's indicated in the submission that in addition, the contractor was engaged to service, maintain, and upgrade the center at a total cost of $7.4 million for 3 years, bringing the total contract to $30.8 million VAT inclusive. That's from the submission, Chair.
Doc, this is a submission of the PS. Unless you want the PS to withdraw a submission. What was the contract amount? And PS, we want those contracts provided. We have photocopies so that we can look at the contract sum for each of these for the two contracts, the one which was not signed and the one which was signed. So please clarify. There was that question. We've been grappling with issues of service of these equipment. What was the contract amount?
The contract amount, Honorable, was $30 million.
Okay.
$30.8 million, and the service amount of the same contract was $7 million odd.
Inclusive?
Inclusive in the $30 million. It was one contract signed of $30 million, and the $7 million is for maintenance.
Then we don't know why PSU made this submission like this. Because in submission you said a turnkey solution at a contract sum of $23,375,187 with a completion period of 18 months commencing from 24th July 2024 and ending 24th January 2026. In addition, the contractor was engaged. So in this, according to what you've submitted, it's now telling us there was this contract which was done 23 but started. Then in addition, you come and maybe it's you come and have a variation of $7.4 million for service, maintenance, and upgrade. That is what we are trying. Maybe PS, explain to us. Maybe we understand.
Chair, what you are reading is, these are findings from the auditors. It's not our submission. No. Submission is on the next page, page 5.
Chair. Chair. Just a moment. Just a comment.
The mic.
Just
yes,
a
Honorable
comment.
Daka.
I think you were reading from the second paragraph, isn't it, on page 4?
Page 4, yes.
Yes, you might need to complete the sentence for us to understand the context. I think what the auditor is saying here is that they entered into this contract. The 23 million was speaking to the structure. Then the 7 million was speaking to the service contract. So effectively bringing maybe two contracts into one, and then it concludes in the last sentence where it says from bringing the total contract sum to 30.8 million VAT inclusive. I think that's the context.
Auditor General, clarify. One contract or two contracts? Because they are the ones who...
Okay, Chair, I'll allow my colleague there to just confirm whether the soft copy contract is the one for 30, which we have.
Mr. Chitumbo, can confirm.
Thank you, Chair. It was one contract.
Okay. Okay, one contract, progress. Let's now have progress. Honorable Mwila.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. On the same contract, I think the main audit query arising from this whole contract concerns the payment that was made of 6.6 million to Siemens. Now, according to the findings at that time when the audit was taking place, this advance payment was made without undertaking the verification with the guarantor. Your response is saying that in fact you did engage the guarantor through an email communication, and they confirmed that the documents were authentic and legally binding. We've looked at the appendix 3, appendix 2, and what we have submitted as the confirmation from the guarantors, but it's not signed. Quite all right, it's addressed to you confirming all this. It is lacking a signature, and how authentic is this? Also, why was this not given to the auditors at the time they were auditing? Because if it was given, they would have done the necessary verifications, avoiding this query to come to the table. So why was this not given at that time? And how authentic is it, seeing that it's just, an email without any signature or any person responsible to issue this, just coming from Deutsche Bank AG? So we really don't know. This lacks verification. Can you explain how we can rely on this document?
Thank you, Honorable Mwila. Honorable Kambita, can proceed.
I think that's a jinx of the query that has been raised by the Auditor General. Permanent Secretary, we have an issue with the guarantee that is being adduced as evidence of having obtained a guarantee for this advance payment. In our view, this document, which is being purported as a letter sent by email to guarantee the advance payment that was made, even us laymen here cannot admit this one. It's inadmissible, and no wonder I think your team could not even produce this before the auditors, because definitely why would you go and get this guarantee from a foreign bank which you wouldn't verify? None of our missions there was involved in this transaction to ensure that this was authentic and is coming from the right institution. This is Germany, I can see here. We have a mission in Germany. If we asked for further engagement with our mission probably in Germany to authenticate whether this is coming from a real bank that exists, because I can type this thing if I want from Katon to Zambezi and they send an email from Katon, it will appear the same way this one is appearing. So any person who really knows an audit trail cannot admit this as authentic. So PS, if you can maybe adduce something else.
Thank you.
Beyond
Thank you,
this.
Honorable Kambita. PS, you can proceed. And the question is interrelated: authenticity of this document. There's doubt. Then suffice to say that PS, there's an email. I think I don't know who's Rachel Mushanga. There's an email.
Yes, that's the procurement officer.
Okay.
That we have in the
So Rachel Mushanga wrote this email. Then the response was, "Dear Sir or Madam, I assume that you need a confirmation that the signatures on the guarantees have been made by authorized employees. If this is the case, please ask your bank to contact us by authenticated SWIFT quoting our guarantee number and asking for the confirmation of signatures. We will then reply by authenticated SWIFT. We can't send any confirmation by email and always need our reference number. I trust this helps you. Best regards and salutation, Mario Jackie. Trade Flow Advisor and Services, Deutsche Bank, AG Corporate Bank, Germany." So who's Madam Rachel? Is Madam Rachel here?
Chair, the officer is not here. In any case, she's actually been transferred from the Ministry of Health.
Okay. So maybe those who were there, they can help us how this letter was obtained, if it was through bank SWIFT and bank confirmation, so that we can so PS, you can answer the two questions. I just wanted to add that there's this email.
Chair, yesterday I guided the PS that all those officers who were there, and I was very specific on this contract, that they should be part of the team. Why is it that you didn't communicate to these officers to come? Because this is a critical issue.
Thank you. So there's that PS. Maybe you can address that and the two questions from the honorable colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And indeed, the Vice Chairperson told us to come with the people that were there, and we've come with most of them. It's just that two officers are not in town, so we couldn't get hold of them. But we have some officers under procurement who were there at that time. They'll be able to explain after the head procurement explains on the two items. Thank you.
Thank you. We can have, I don't know if you said procurement to proceed. What we want is authenticity. Head procurement can proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and thank you very much, PS. I'll request my officer to just shed a bit of light in terms of how the whole aspect was dealt with.
Okay, thank you very much. As earlier alluded to, upon receipt of the guarantees from Siemens bankers, as per procedure, we sought verification of the same guarantees. And when we received an email guiding us on the procedure as regards the verification of the same guarantees, we referred the matter to accounts, since the guidance was that we could only track the guarantees through a SWIFT code. So I think our colleagues under finance would be in a better position to further guide us on how the issue proceeded. Thank you.
Thank you, procurement. The Director of Finance to the PS, how did you pay? Did you confirm through SWIFT?
Yeah, the email was actually sent back to the bank, and in fact these letters which are here were actually responded back to my email, and that's how I printed and gave back to procurement, and we had availed them to audit even during the audit period, and they had time to verify if they needed to verify. It's not the first time that we're availing them with this information. It's not just here.
Director of Finance. Director of Finance and the PS. PS is a seasoned financial person, and we don't want to labor. And this thing, like Honorable Kambita has said, maybe tell us, Director of Finance, how authentic is this? Because there's no signature. Okay, there's no formal letterhead. There's no person. There's no person who's the author. There's just kind regards Deutsche Bank. There's no who's the author. If we say let's call the author of this letter, tell us maybe who's the author of this letter. Who's taking responsibility? Because when the PS writes to the PS, so the name, you can say the one who wrote is this PS. Who's the author of this confirmation? Maybe help us. Yes, Honorable Kambita.
I think the big question, Permanent Secretary, is if something went wrong on this contract and you needed to recover this advance payment, who would you go to? Would you be very sure that with the documentation that we have here in this committee room, you would be able to claim this money from the guarantor?
Thank you. Director of Finance through the PS. Who's the author of this letter? If we have recourse and say we want to go for who's the author of this letter?
In the email there was a name, I think, which is not appearing here.
Director of Finance, you've seen this submission you've come with.
Yes, please.
You go to the last page. There's a one who submitted and the name is there and is signed for. Okay, so that's why we're asking. This is what you brought. You have not brought the string of the email. It's this letter. That's why Honorable Kambita said, I can type this letter. Even me, I can type and write everything, just the way it is. And Google the address for this bank and put it there, the way it is. What motivated you to make this payment based on this letter which has no author? It's an open letter. Maybe you'd have gone back to say, as per standard in Zambia, you cannot accept a letter which is not signed. We would want a person who take responsibility of this. Even if it's an email, this is an attached document. It should have the author duly signed. It's a confirmation. So maybe tell us what through your PS, what motivated the department to think this is an authentic document. That's why it has been queried. It's not authentic. Honorable Mwila, first I wanted maybe let the Director of Finance answer what transpired. Tell us, Director of Finance to the PS.
Everything was through email, because this is an international bank. We didn't have any physical contact with them.
Sir, we understand, and with due respect, we've agreed. Yeah, we've got our mission there, and those people are there to do the work. So those are our representatives. They could have just walked. Probably they even bank with the same bank. But we do understand the scenario. But what we are saying is this authentic from your own perspective? It's not signed, Director of Finance. There's no authenticity of this document. You can have a signed letter, scanned and emailed and printed. It's as simple as that. More authentic. Everything. Help us. We're trying to understand. You paid. Honorable Mwila, yes.
Part of the submission by Director of Finance is that this was provided to the auditors during the audit time. They saw it. They are not submitting it for the first time. Maybe we can hear from the Auditor General if indeed this document was availed to them during the audit, according to the submission by the Director of Finance.
If I got the Director of Finance correctly, very correctly, he was even saying this is not the first time. So it's like maybe such documents have been submitted. I stand to be corrected. But Auditor General confirm. Yeah, because it's like we don't know why should be the issue. It shouldn't even be queried. It's a common practice maybe at the ministry. Acting Doug, you can proceed.
Yes, Chair. I think the audit process is clear. That's why perhaps yesterday maybe there was that question of saying why didn't you give these documents first to the auditors at the time of audit. Maybe so we are seeing these things here, but the DAP is normally confirmed that we agree to the correctness. So at that point, the client would have agreed with our observation. That's why we are here. I will allow again my just to perhaps verify whether at the time when they were in the field, this letter was given to them, because what we brought is another perhaps evidence to say at that time they did not agree. The bank did not agree. Maybe Mr. Chitumbo or the team, another member at the back, just to confirm whether you were given this.
Thank you, Doug. Colleagues, even if we ask the Auditor General, looking at this letter is not authentic. Even if they say it was provided, I can't pay on such a letter. It's just not authentic. It's not. The document is not authentic. But Mr. Chitumbo, you can comment. We have a position on this. We make progress. Yes, Mr. Chitumbo, you can proceed.
Yes, Chair, thank you. I want to confirm that this letter was given to us during the audit. However, we rejected it. And also, we also looked at that email that showed that the bank had guided on the procedure. So what we expected to see was a confirmation in accordance with the guidance that the bank gave.
Thank you. And which was not done? PS, there was a procedure which was highlighted through the email to Madam Rachel by the aforesaid bank in Germany, which was not followed. Your Director of Finance proceeded to write another email and got this letter sent through that email. The letter, which has no author, but it's just it's like it's a standard letter. You just send it, so anybody can, not even on a letterhead. I don't think that's correct to base your payment on that. It's misleading, actually. Yes, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, it's very sad. Looking at this contract, it's like none of the people from the ministry is owning this contract. And looking at the amount, because they're not coming out strong, all of them. My question will be, who authorized this payment, which had exchanged through the emails? Who authorized it? An individual? Because there was someone who was sitting on the office and made the authority. Because this is a lot of money.
Okay, Honorable Kambita.
Just to add on that, and before we take a position as a committee, Chairperson, this is a serious matter, Permanent Secretary, and which borders on actually criminality. Forgery is a criminal offense, and if this happened, definitely there must be consequences for that, and we need to identify the public servants involved in this transaction, and they need to answer to this, because this is misleading, and this is where, as a committee, we have ended up having issues where monies were paid to a contractor and then they failed to perform and we can't recover the advance payment. So I think we need to make an example of this. Chairperson, as it stands, we just have to take a position as a committee and make appropriate recommendations, which we will follow. I submit.
Thank you. Is it on the same?
Yeah, but we are moving, but I just want to clear my mind.
Before the two honorable colleagues come in, there are two questions. PS, we want where are the guarantees? Are they still valid? Because I see this contract is running up to January 2026. Do we have the bonds? Can we have copies of the bonds as we are proceeding with the meeting for the aforesaid? Just take those questions. Let me have Honorable Mwila and Honorable Mkumbi to ask. Then PS, you answer the question. I just want the bonds to come. Thank you.
Yes, Chair. In fact, that is what I wanted to ask. The validity of the bonds now, but further also considering that a lot of public funds are at risk of loss. How is the project progressing? Is the contractor still on site? Are they on time? How is it progressing?
Thank you. Honorable Mkumbi.
Chair, mine is just a proposal that the PS does withdraw this appendix, because it's misleading to the committee. If you check even on their website, Deutsche Bank, it's a very big bank. They have their logos, and each time they write, there is somebody that takes image of the company. So we can't have such a submission and we leave it there, because anybody could have just written this at home and sent it. So Chair, I propose that this shall be taken care of by the ministry. Thank you.
Thank you. PS, there's a question from Honorable Vice Chair. I think she means which PS signed for this payment. So if it's not you, we want the PS who signed for this payment to come. And the Director of Finance is the one who prepared. Procurement referred it back, then it was processed by Director of Finance and the team. So, PS, which PS signed for this payment?
Thank you very much, Chair. I will just ask the Director of Finance to remind me which PS was there at that time.
Director of Finance, who did you sign with?
Of course, the PS who was there was the acting PS, PS Sinyangwe, DC, Dr. Sinyangwe. Yes, but the processes start from all the way from MIUD before they even come to PS.
They start from where?
Ministry of Infrastructure. They don't land just with.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It all starts from, because that's the project supervisor.
Okay. So from infrastructure, we have Director Khan. We can come and take that seat. Madam from procurement, you can just push back. You can let the director from no, Doc, you can sit. We still need you. And procurement, don't go far. We still need you. Director, help us with this issue we're grappling with.
Yes, Chairperson. It's unfortunate I was informed just yesterday that I'm supposed to appear here. And the department in charge of this project is the Preventive Maintenance Services. Unfortunately, the director is not around. So I don't have much information on that aspect, Chairperson.
Thank you. PS, it's simple. I think Department of Infrastructure will have an IPC. They won't have guarantee. They don't have bonds, isn't it? They'll certify the works once they've gone through and push it to the ministry. The minute you look at the IPC, if the contract clause says 25%, it doesn't even need to go to infrastructure. That's my understanding, because they've not done the work first. They want to mobilize. So they want the 25% according to the contract. Or they provide as security at the bonds. which bonds are gotten. The next is the ministry writes for confirmation of bonds to pay the 25%. Once bonds are confirmed by the insurance or the bank, whoever it is, financial institution, then the ministry now processes the payment. The next payment will be now based on the works, because they look at the works which has been carried out according to the contract, and then you have also your recoveries, the way you do it. If it's you start doing your recoveries, whatever it is, then now they authenticate, yes, they've done this, they've done the slabs, they are now block work, they are beams, what this is worthy, what they are claiming it. If it's $10 million, we certify, then it comes to you. Now that is based on works. Then now the Department of Infrastructure now comes in, but we are dealing with advance payment. The process doesn't start with them for advance payment. It's just a contract provision under special conditions. So what we are saying is, for this confirmation, they are not involved. It's you, the ministry. Then now later on the subsequent payments, because the IPCs, which each Honorable Daka will help us, then now that is based on the milestones, the work done. Oh, this is done, this is installed, this is what, this is done, and then we progress like that. So what we are saying, this is not authentic. Yes, we've spoken about the PS who was acting, PS Sinyango was acting, but maybe it's you guys from finance who misguided him, because you are the ones who should provide these documents, make sure they're authentic. You've confirmed. Him is to sign. Is everything okay? I've checked, and audit. Where's audit? Where's internal audit? Internal audit, you didn't have sight of this document, because you also need to clear a payment. How did you clear a payment with this confirmation without a signature? Before we proceed, maybe tell us as internal audit, because you are the stopgap. You are the ones who tell management you can't pay because I don't think this is authentic. Then we make progress. Through your PS internal audit, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair, for that question, and I'll speak through the PS. I wish to submit that it's unfortunate that such an anomaly happened. As internal audit, we do various pre-audits, and like I did mention, that is unfortunate because these are audits that are done by my officers, and it was really unfortunate that there was an oversight in terms of such a very
the director internal audit.
Yes, sir.
We don't want that oversight mentioned here. Just this. No, my PS. Our issue is this is a huge payment, and internal audit, they do their pre-audits. Why should this huge payment be an oversight? Because this one is a high risk. Everybody will even say, okay, this one, take it to the boss to check because it's high risk. You see what I mean? That is what should come in our minds. But we cannot go into to question procurement of ton and the methylated spirit, then leave this to $6.7 million as an oversight in internal audit. I don't think that's correct. This is a high risk. Even your risk profiling, this should be looked at. These ones should go maybe to the, I don't know if it's a principal or the chief internal auditor to look at, because but if we can have an oversight over $7 million, I think that's not right. That's not right, because at least either your department, finance should pick it and flag it to say, hey, wait a minute, I think let's get more. So, honorable colleagues, we are not getting any answers for this issue. There are no answers. We need to just have position and PS. We don't have an answer. Unless PS you have an answer you want to give us. This document is not authentic. Maybe tell us how far has the construction gone. Is this contractor still on site? And how much are the recoveries which have been done? Then from there we'll tell you if you want to go to site. We are going to have a meeting there at the site to see. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. From the other questions that you asked, yes, the bonds we have the bonds, so we are able to provide those. Then the progress on the building, I'll just allow Dr. Sadabo to tell us what percentage it's on.
Doc, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to confirm that the contractors are on site. The progress is currently good. Overall progress is at 65% for the whole project. The imaging section is past 90%. The radiotherapy section is close to 50%. Overall 65%. There was delay slightly at the beginning with the actual decommissioning because the works were more than they had perceived with regards to demolitions of the previous building and the foundations that were initially there, and then a further delay in December of 2024 due to the heavy rains that were there. But currently it's on 65%. They have asked for an extension through Ministry of Infrastructure up to around May or June, but that extension has not yet been granted. Thank you.
Thank you. PS will want to go and see that construction, because then also what is has there been any recoveries in terms of this advance payment? How far have they gone? Maybe infrastructure, or I don't know. Yeah, are you aware of anything? Who's the contract manager? Should be infrastructure, isn't it? Maybe
yes.
Is there, your officers are not here, or are you aware of whatever is the position?
No, I'm not aware. It's under the Directorate of Preventive Maintenance. Who's not here?
Can they come tomorrow? Because we are still continuing tomorrow to.
Yes.
Are they available tomorrow?
Yes, Chairperson, we can make arrangements.
Please let them come with you tomorrow. Honorable colleagues, let's make progress. So PS, we want to go and see. When we finish, we want to go and see the progress, because for us this is very important. Government has spent a lot of money sending patients to. They started Tanzania. I don't know what we are doing now. So we just need to make sure that this is done. We make progress, honorable colleagues. The issue of contract consultant service for design supervision concerning question of introduction of VAT is out. Cancelled that one. I think it has been resolved. I can see the Director of Finance agreeing quickly and nodding his head that yes, it's done, that one. Thank you. So we proceed to which Cancer and Ndola now. We'll proceed to Ndola. PSC submission you are making, you should also include the Cancer Hospital in Bwana Mkubwa Ndola, because it's in Chichele in Bwana Mkubwa. Thank you. PS, honorable colleagues, we can proceed on that. Yeah. Honorable Mwila, then Honorable Daka. Doc, thank you for the explanation. We're still coming to see. Honorable Mwila, can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. This issue is to do with the irregular requests for funds. It's clear from the background, Chair, that these cancer treatment centers, Ndola, Livingstone, and also Lusaka, are funded from three sources, as the background goes. So there is this Badea Bank, 10 million, the OPEC funds, 12.4 million, and the government of the Republic of Zambia, $2.6 million. Now, the management response arising from the query why the ministry requested the Treasury to release 2.6 million counterpart funding. That is the audit query. $2.6 million to be released by the Zambian Treasury to fund the projects. Now, I'm confused with the management response, especially the second part of this response, which is saying the committee may wish to note that the contract did not include government counterpart funding. But we know that government funding in this whole project is 12.4 million US dollars. So when they say that the contract did not include government counterpart funding, what does this mean? And then
it's a 2.6 government.
Yes, Honorable. So the request from the ministry was for government to release 2.6 million US dollars, but in the original documents, the government funding is 12.4 million US dollars. That's the government funding. Now they were requesting for Treasury to release 2.6, but what is contradicting is the response that this contract did not include government counterpart funding. And further, the committee is being told that to note that the Treasury only released counterpart funding, which did not include VAT and consultants fees. So the response is confusing, Chair, because definitely government is funding partially, and they also released, which they are acknowledging. But again, at the same time, they are saying the contract did not include government counterpart funding. So please explain what you meant to say in this, because it's confusing.
Thank you, Honorable Daka.
Chair, I think just a correction. Actually, government is a 2.6 million US dollar counterpart funding, and Chair, government released 624,552.42 dollars towards the 2.6 million dollars counterpart funding. But what is surprising, Chair, the committee is finding it difficult to understand why the ministry actually at some later stage, Chair, they requested again for a full amount of $2.6 million counterpart funding from Treasury, despite having already received the aforementioned $624,000, Chairperson. So we'd want to find out from the PS why did you go again to request for a full amount when you had already partially received the $624,000? I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed with those questions. Clarification, PS, is what we want. I think definitely there is counterpart funding, which was part of the contract. So maybe just clarify that. You can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Again, the Director of Finance will just explain.
Director of Finance, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. At one time, I'll ask Assistant Director, Infrastructure, to assist me. From the loan point of view, the agreement between OFID and BADEA did not include VAT and operational expenses. So the loan contract was divided such that the 2.4 million US dollars was supposed to be paid from the loan funders and 2.6 from the Zambian counterpart. And this did not include operational expenses and VAT. It was all to do with construction business. However, as the construction continued, VAT was introduced and operational expenses such as consultancy fees started arising, and the funders refused that these are not part of the contract, these are not part of the agreement. Government has to take up or has to find money somewhere where they have to handle these expenses. So this is where the difference is. So whatever was released by government to handle the VAT and the consultancy fees on the project constitute the 2.6. It's not part of the 2.6. It's not counterpart fund. Otherwise, we'll be breaching the agreement between ourselves as government and our cooperating partners. I think I'll end there. For now, I'll ask my colleague to help me from infrastructure.
The colleague from infrastructure can respond to the question.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I wish to just emphasize that my Director of Finance is correct in his explanation that the earlier or the initial funding for the project was not inclusive of VAT, and therefore it had to be requested afresh. And additional to the same, I wish to also mention that all expenses paid on projects such as this one are commensurate to certified works or services by the consultant and are not over and above what has been budgeted for. Therefore, it means there is no over expenditure and everything is within what is in the books. I submit, Chair.
Bodaka.
Madam Chairperson, we are not getting the response from our client, from our witness. The question is simple, that there was a 2.6 million sum which was supposed to come from government, or which supposed to have come from Treasury. There was a payment of $624,000 which came from government already. Now the committee is finding it difficult to understand, because at some later stage you made a request of the full amount of $2.6 million when what was expected was less than $624,000. That's the question we're asking. Why did you go ahead to request for a full amount of $2.6 million? That's the question. I submit, Chairperson.
Honorable Kambita.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think the Director of Finance and a Permanent Secretary, through the Permanent Secretary, what the committee is asking really is what Honorable Daka has said. What we need from you, and especially the Director of Finance, is for you to justify the payment of $624,000 US. From your explanation, it appears there are other costs that are incidental to this contract, which will not be accepted in the original contract terms. That's the way I've understood it. So now, that being the justification, you need to convince the auditors, because you had a conversation between yourselves and the auditors during the time of audit. You need to convince the auditors that this payment is a standalone and it is meant to cover for these costs, which are inclusive of maybe VAT, which cannot be tolerated or entertained in this contract. I think that's the way I've followed this conversation. So now, it's up to the auditors now to help the committee to authenticate this payment. So the query is on this payment of $624,000. Submit.
Honorable Mwamba.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is a very short question. After many years of having this contract done, what triggered the decision to introduce the VAT and consultancy component? Thank you.
PS, you can respond. Before you respond, what is coming out is like PS, you didn't sit with your team to go through this submission, because you are supposed to own even the response. You should at least try to respond to some of the questions, unlike what is happening now. Director, through PS, you can respond to the 3 questions from honorable members.
Thank you, PS. Thank you, Honorable. I think Honorable, sorry for not mastering your name, he has actually answered, you've assisted explain the situation. Yes, actually that is the situation, because these are costs that came up outside the original agreement. And you know, our cooperating partners, they don't tolerate things that are not originally in the agreement. So in this country, we operate in our own way. We, through ZRA, you just introduce VAT. It is a decision of the nation. And this contract was already signed. We have to incur VAT, and we cannot introduce it in this agreement. So meanwhile, they have released money to the contractor in dollar, and the ZRA are chasing this contractor, you know. So we need to pay VAT. So this VAT, the money we needed to get from somewhere. So we had to push Ministry of Finance, and Finance just said, find a line through which we can fund and we clear this obligation. And this is what we did. It was not part of the 2.6 million counterpart fund. It was cost incidental to implementing the agreement at Ndola. So together with the consultants issues, which of course the engineering things which our engineers understand, we needed to pay them, offload them, so that the works continue. Otherwise they would do store, and the country would suffer. So money was sourced, and that's how we paid those incidental costs for continuity. The 2.6 was requested separately. I think my colleague can explain on that one, because he is an engineer, he understands better how that request was done.
Thank you very much, Chair, through my peers.
Who has allowed you, Mr. Nyamba?
I'm sorry about that, sir.
Through the PS, you can proceed and make your submission, Mr. Mnyambango.
Thank you very much, Chair. I wish to support my Director of Finance position on the same. It is true that from the beginning we didn't have VAT on the contract, because this was a loan agreement between ourselves and our supporting partners. That being so, it wasn't possible to have included the VAT, which wasn't even there in the first place. So having gone into the contract that far as we had done, VAT, of course, as demanded by government procedures, had to be introduced. For that reason, this money had to be requested from Ministry of Finance, and that's what brings us to where we are right now. I think suffice to say, all that happened for a purpose, and we did the needful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Daka, what's the point of order?
Thank you, Chair. What's the name again from the person?
Mr. Muyambango.
Oh, that's Mr. Muyambango. Oh, it's Mr. Muyambango now, yes. It's a very popular name to this committee. Chair, listening to Mr. Muyambango's submission, Chair, somehow I meant to believe like the ministry didn't know what they were doing, Chairperson. Chairperson, on many donor-funded projects, local taxes normally are excluded. And Chair, there's a way of managing this kind of a scenario. These things have been done so many times, Chair. Normally, you normally issue a local purchase order to that effect to exclude these local taxes. And normally the contractor or supplier who have a local purchase order and who avail that to ZRA. And there's no way ZRA can keep on pushing for that if a local purchase order is issued to that effect, Chair. So getting Mr. Mbango's the submission to this committee, Chair, it's worrying, it's worrisome. Because it looks as if people who have very experienced in working in these ministries don't seem to know what they were doing. Chair, I don't know how we proceed with this matter. I submit anyway.
As the PS clarified on this counterpart funding, or I don't know, it has been clarified, it was there. Because the submission is different. I think that was Honorable Mwila was talking about. Because it was like it was not there. Then now it was now, I don't know. So PS, we believe that there was counterpart funding, which was being requested for from the Ministry of Finance. Is that the position? Then we make progress. Maybe PS, you can respond.
Thank you, Chair. I think our officer explained that the 2.6 that was funded was not from counterpart funding.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we explained.
Okay. Okay. Honorable Mwila. Progress? We just have position over this matter. Because we... Yes, Honorable Mwila.
So, Chair, what has triggered even this prolonged discussion is because what the submission from the PS, Director of Finance, is totally different from what is written here in the management response. Because what I get is that the money, the $624,000 which government released, was converted to other costs, not part of the counterpart funding. But it's the same. So the explanation you are giving, why was indeed first of all given to the auditors? Because the auditors are asking, they didn't have that information, and that's why this query is coming here. You are requesting 2.6 million without taking into consideration the other funds that were raised. But now you are giving a background here that VAT came in and all those things. But first of all, you should have explained that to the auditors on site. Secondly, what you have written here as management response must have contained those things that you are explaining. Clearly, they are not here. So that's why there is a confusion here in this committee.
Yeah.
That's a matter.
Thank you, Honorable Mwila. PS, that's where the confusion is, because whatever is being explained is not submitted or in a summary form so that it can speak to us in terms of the other evidence which is being adduced by your Director of Finance. So Director of Finance, you stop misleading the PS on some of these submissions now you are making, because these submissions are not in here. So honorable colleagues, let's make progress. We will have position over this matter, we make progress. So we move to contract for supply and delivery of 3 X-ray machines for Kitwe Teaching Hospital, non-functional mobile X-ray machine Solwezi. So I can have the superintendent for Solwezi and Kitwe, if they are here, to just... Madam, are you from Solwezi? Solwezi and Kitwe, superintendent, or provincial health director. Yes. So Kitwe, Northwestern. I can have Kitwe there, and Northwestern maybe. Yeah, the Northwestern can sit and Kitwe on the 2 seats, since the honorable member for the other seat is not there. Yeah. Let's go to it. So PS, as the time is 11:51, we are going to break for a health break. So we'll have 5 minutes of health break, then we'll resume the interaction. Thank you so much. Let me lift immunity conferred you before you and your team that is being lifted. I'm sure there are files which have come. You can go in the corner and sign them. Then we can proceed and continue the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair.
Recording.